if you suffer from irrational fears and phobias, perhaps like a fear of heights, maybe claustrophobia, or even spiders, probably public speaking as well, then you'll be very excited to hear what our next guest has to share. Leading international psychologist Steve Wells joins us now to share an exciting breakthrough that will help you overcome some of these irrational fears. Steve, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, mate.
Welcome,
Great to be
Steve.
here. Hi, Edwin.
So you're a psychologist. Tell us a bit more about your background.
Well, I feel like I've been interested in psychology my whole life. I've always been interested in how to change and how to help people. And I've worked as a psychologist for 21 years. And the last 10 years I've been using these new techniques, which are basically psychological acupressure techniques. Okay. Something I never thought I'd be using as a psychologist. Yeah. So
psychopressure, say it again?
They call it psychological acupressure because most people understand acupressure and acupuncture. Okay. This uses the same points, and instead of using needles, you actually tap on the points.
And that is then stimulating those points that help to change a bad habit, or not necessarily a bad habit, but a fear.
The theory is that your body is actually made up of energy lines. In traditional Chinese medicine they talk about qi, or life energy, and the theory now is that when you stimulate these points you're actually sending life energy through your body. And I'll tell you what, it has very powerful effects.
So what are some of these effects that stimulating these energy points can have for people?
Well, you can have a lifelong phobia that can be completely resolved in 30 minutes or sometimes even less. You can have a major traumatic experience that you've had and have that go away, such as a war trauma or a car accident or something like that. It's so fantastic to be able to give that to people. It's wonderful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So how did you come about this? Did you create this yourself, or you've read about it and then you've studied it and you act on it now? Or?
The original discovery was made by an American psychologist about 25 odd years ago, and the guy I trained with had actually trained with him and simplified his process, and his technique is called EFT, Emotional Freedom Techniques. And my friend Dr. David Lake from Sydney, we went over to study with this guy. In fact, my friend had his public speaking phobia completely cured in 38-minute treatment. It was fantastic to watch.
Amazing. And now he's a professional international speaker, isn't he?
We go all around the world training people in the technique, and he doesn't have any of the problem.
Now, not just EFT, there is something else called SET. Just tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, that's the technique that we developed. It's a simplified version of EFT, and it also has a couple of unique differences, but basically we pared down the essential parts of the technique so that everybody can use it.
And now it's a pretty big claim that, and I know Dr. David Lake, you mentioned now, has had his public speaking cured in 40 minutes. But is there any research to back some of these claims that it can be cured, like fear of spiders or something like that, cured so quickly?
Yeah, it's a funny thing actually. When I came back to Perth, I actually went out to the Curtin University and I was presenting about this to the Masters Psychology students. And one of them got together with me and said, "Oh, I have to do some research." I said, "Well, we could get a bunch of people with phobias and we could cure them with this treatment." And so we set up a study actually, and we got people who had severe phobias of mice and cockroaches and all small animals that people hate or love to hate. And we set up a controlled study comparing this treatment to a more traditional deep breathing treatment. They had a 30-minute treatment, and every one of those people that were treated with this strange tapping thing actually got better. And we followed them up 6 to 9 months later, and they were still better. And we're people who wouldn't even go in the room if there was a mouse in the room.
Sounds fascinating.
Wow,
it's fantastic.
Look at the potential of it. Sounds amazing as well.
That's right. That's what I was going to say. The potential. Now, obviously, people have fears other than your mouse, your rat, your cat, your dog. People are afraid of going ahead and achieving their goals. So, is this something that could also help with them?
That's actually the area that I'm most interested in. I've been interested in peak performance for a number of years. So I've worked with athletes to get them over their fears of success, basically. But also an athlete can have an issue, like a baseball player might have an issue pitching to certain players, or a football team might have an issue playing against a certain other football team, that kind of stuff. And those sorts of things can be treated,
Absolutely. Well, I even see it in the wealth creation area where people have a fear of certain money as well, so I presume this would apply. So I'm itching on the edge of my seat. Can you show us some of this SET and the EFT? Is it something that we can do demo now?
Oh yeah, look,
Yeah,
if you told me 10 years ago that I'd be getting to do, people to do this, I would have said you're crazy, but the results are so fantastic, and it's something that people can try out for themselves. Most people, just from tapping on these points alone, will find that they get a relaxation effect in their body.
Okay.
So
what are some of those points? Is there a sequence that we can...
yeah, I can show you some of the main points that get used in the various
yeah, just talk
treatment
us through them,
sequences.
that'd be great, please.
The first one is here at the start of the eyebrow.
Okay, yeah.
Second one is on the side of the eye.
And we're just tapping lightly,
Yeah,
is that
just
what we're
tapping
doing?
so you can feel it.
Yeah.
This is where I tap if I have a headache.
Good. Well, that actually can help relieve the headache if you just do it gently, not tapping too hard.
Does it matter if we're thinking or saying or doing anything at the time, or is it more the tapping that matters?
We've actually found you can just do it and get an effect like we call it energy toning effect. But you can also target particular problems. You can focus on a problem like your fear while you're doing it, and
So here's
then
another
you
one
just
there.
follow through. Yep, under the eye, under the nose,
Okay.
under the mouth.
And this is loosening the energy blockage there, is it? Or
Well, this is a theory. Nobody really actually knows. And people are coming up with all kinds of theories. And it's actually a great thing because it's an integration of East and West, because neither the Eastern theories, the traditional theories of the East, or the new Western theories can actually adequately explain it. I think it's fantastic. They're all scrambling to try and work out what's going on.
So we don't know what's going on, but it sounds like from the evidence in your own research, the outcome is undeniable.
The outcomes are fantastic. The research study that we did has been replicated over in New York and compared to traditional counselling. There are people who have, if you go on the internet and search on energy psychology, you'll find brain scan imagery showing the differences over time of using the technique. It's fascinating.
so just tell me, what would be one of the most interesting cases you've dealt with?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Really, the fears and phobias are fascinating because you can really be scared of anything. You know, you'll have someone who's actually horrified of snails, or someone who is fearful of just something which anybody would find normal. Yeah.
So someone wanting to know more, obviously they can find out more on our website, but to get in touch with you, how would they go about doing that?
Well, they could do that through our website, EFTdownunder.com, EFTdownunder.com. They can also, as I said, if they search on simple energy techniques or emotional freedom techniques, there's a massive free information on the internet. And a lot of the people in the field are actually just trying to get information out there to people so they can be helped. So the idea is to spread the word.
It sounds like it's a very quick, simple sequence that we just repeat a few times and focus maybe on our phobia, and it can...
I'm amazed how it can actually work. Like, I'm not being sceptical or anything, but
It's okay to be sceptical.
Yeah.
I don't think you should be, some people accept things just because they're alternative. I was very sceptical, which is why we set up a research study, because I thought, well, this has to stand up or it's not going to. But I mean, I was just repeatedly getting results with it, as anybody who starts using it will find. They start to get results with it. You can use it for self-help, and therapists can actually use it in a very profound way. They combine it with their other techniques, and it just adds a great deal to their treatment.
yeah, of course, combining the two together would just improve the situation even more.
Steve, this sort of advanced sort of Eastern origin type technique and a psychology seems to me to be a bit of out of mismatch. Do many other psychologists, yeah, that's probably the word I was looking for. Do many other psychologists embrace this technique, or are you really leading edge among your field?
There are more and more that are. Obviously, there are some people who won't even look at it because it seems so strange, you know, to think that you could cure psychological problems by tapping on the energy points on the body. And primarily this is a body technique, but psychology is now waking up to realise we actually have a body, and that, you know, you can change your thinking, but if you haven't changed the effect of that thinking in your body mind, then you're not going to change the feeling, and that's the main thing. If you've still got the problem feeling, you haven't solved the problem.
Absolutely. Well, Steve, the potential of this technique, the EFT, the emotional freedom technique, just sounds absolutely amazing to me, and particularly the results. You know, I'm not really sure about the research. I don't really care. I want the result.
What are you scared of, Matt? What are you going to work on?
I'm scared every morning coming onto the show. But I've actually used the technique to get over some fears I had about having my daughter. Some parenting stuff, and her screaming used to do my head in, and I used it immediately. So it was a fascinating result for me. So it was terrific. So Steve, thanks for sharing us with these techniques and these amazing possibilities here. We really appreciate it. And as Eddie said earlier, we can go to our website to learn more about some links to Steve's website and simple energy techniques as well.
The world is your oyster.
Absolutely,
No
it
fear.
is. But right now we're going to go.